Hey, let's get into it. When you learn to hike mountains, you're taught something important. That if you begin to drift off the trail, you begin to notice that you're not on the trail anymore. Don't keep wandering and following that path. Stop, turn around, retrace your step, and find the trail again. Um, don't wait. Don't wait until you're completely lost before you respond. Because small deviations over time, a change in trajectory can become really dangerous if you follow it over a course of hours. A few unnoticed steps in the wrong direction can eventually place you somewhere far from where you intended to be. And that's the picture here that James wants to close with in James 5:19 to 20. My brothers, if anyone among you wanders from the truth and someone brings him back, let him know that whoever brings back a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. James wants to end his letter here very personally, not with a formal conclusion and final greetings like most of Paul's letters. He ends it here with people. If anyone among you wanders, and that word matters, that wander, uh, it's not like this big rebellion all at once. It's about drifting, slow. It's a gradual movement, a slow misalignment with God's ways. And James assumes that this can happen inside the church among believers, because spiritual drift rarely feels like a massive step in a moment, a big decision. It often looks a lot more ordinary, like neglect and compromise, like distance showing up kind of over time. And James says something important. Someone brings him back, not shames him. That's big for the church. Not to shame, not to crush, but to bring them back. It's not about superiority or judgment, it's about restoration. This image is relational. It's about someone noticing, someone caring enough to move towards them, someone showing grace and mercy and love and asking really good questions. We see this throughout Scripture. Jesus describes the shepherd, right, that leaves the 99 to go after the one that wandered, because the one that wandered mattered deeply. James says that kind of restoration work, it's important because drift is never harmless. The direction, the trajectory that we're on, it matters. Then he says something beautiful. It says it will cover a multitude of sins, not hiding sin, not pretending sin isn't real or accepting it, but preventing destruction from continuing unchecked. Restoration interrupts that path. This is how community is meant to function. Not as people performing perfectly together in sort of this like holier than thou artificialness, but people helping each other to keep walking on the right path, the narrow path towards truth. At times admonishing each other, calling each other back to the path. And there's humility in this passage too, because James doesn't divide people into wanderers and people who never wander. The warning applies to everyone. Any one of us can drift slowly if we simply stop paying attention. And so who comes to mind when you hear this passage? Someone who maybe seems distant, disconnected, slowly drifting. And what would it look like? Again, not to shame, but to move towards them with gentleness instead of judgment. Not to lecture and not to fix everything or answer every question, just to care enough to reach out. And honestly, where might you yourself be drifting right now? Maybe it's not in some big, major, dramatic way, just gradually. Because one of God's gifts is people who notice and lovingly help us return. And so, as we close the book of James, my prayer is that it's practical wisdom for us in community, in difficulty, in suffering. Um, is God speaking to us, leading us, and directing us into life. And wherever you find yourself, God goes with you today.